Hey guys, hopefully everyone is doing well. Today's target is to solve question number 6.3. The chapter which we are related with is interest rates and bond valuation. And right now we are going to solve 6.3. As you know, under this chapter, we will try to understand how to calculate value of a bond. Basically, bonds we have already understood that a sort of loan when you are taking amount for investors from investors as a loan and in return you are issuing some bonds. Bonds you can consider simple a paper upon which detail of that loan has been mentioned where how for how much time you have taken that loan, how much rate of return has been decided, and how you will pay that amount of return to the person from whom that loan has been taken. So different details has been mentioned. If you want to take its understanding, we can have its introductory lecture separately as well. Alright guys, this is your question from here to here. It is just simple understanding. But question is not associated with an organization. It's a personal question for a single person. Here Zain is an individual currently has $100 that he can spend today to on polo shirts costing 25 each. That means he can purchase shirts. Alternatively, he could invest $100 in risk-free US Treasury security that is expected to earn 9%. Though there are two options, either he can purchase shares or he can invest that amount into Treasury where he can get 9% of rate. The consensus forecast of leading economists is a 5% rate of inflation that is directly associated with these shares. If he will buy right now, that would cost 25, but if his decision not to buy these shares right now, what will happen in a year that the cost of each share or the price of each share would be increased by 5%. Okay. So first requirement is what? How many polo shirts can Zen purchase? This is our first requirement. So let's start our question one by one. We will see B, C, D, E requirements. Not a very lengthy question. It is still simple calculation to start understanding rate of returns, value of an asset, and how you will get its return. How many polo shirts can Zen purchase? Okay, for that we may have a very simple formula of per unit with which what we will do, we need an amount and that amount would be divided by units. And since we are asked how many polo shirts, it means units are required. Units here are being divided and we want to take it to the opposite side. If it is divided over here, it would be multiplied at opposite side. So per unit is already present and you want to take these units from right side to opposite side, it would be multiplied and we will get units with which we will get our total amount. This is universal formula. You can put this formula for calculation of any of these three elements. If per unit is missing, you can. If units are missing, you can. If amount you want to calculate, you can. Okay, per unit here is being multiplied. You want to take it to the opposite side. When you will take per unit to the opposite side, sign would be changed and what would left on left side of is equal to only units, and amount was already present on right side of is equal to, and you are now taking this per unit to the opposite side, so it would be divided. So can you see that per unit can be calculated, amount can be calculated, and units are also possible to be calculated. So single formula, but all three elements are possible for calculations. Right now, how many polo shirts? That means units are required to be calculated. So third formula would be used. For that, how much amount we have in our pocket? $100. So let's put the amount. Amount is $100. Please follow this formula. How much total amount we do have? 100, and per unit, per unit cost, per unit price. Over here you can change this formula as, let me tell you, exact according to requirement of this question. Same formula I'm writing over here, but here custom formula we are making. Units of polo shirts, total amount we have per unit price of polo shirts. Though this particular formula will not be used for solution of any other question, but right now for this part you can understand. But we haven't changed the base of the formula. Base is same. So please understand over here what we need is total amount, which was 100, and per unit price of polo shirt is mentioned as $25. And this is over here polo shirt costing 25 each. So this would be considered per unit price of polo shirt. We have completed our statement. Now just put it on calculator. So what we have found out, the answer for our question is 4. And what is this 4? As you can see, that units of polo shirts. So with $100 he can purchase 4 polo shirts. This is our first answer. Let's mark it as it has been done. Okay, and answer is also mentioned over here. Look, these are answers. First part 4. How much total money will Zan have at the end of first year? Okay, so for that you will again be understanding this point. 9% nominal rate would be provided if he is going to invest. So instead of buying shares, he had decided to invest that amount in treasury. Right now we are not discussing any formula. Simple is this: if we have an amount and he is going to invest that amount in treasury, so what he will get? P for principal amount, and it would be multiplied by small r, which is rate of interest, and then we will multiply it with the time. P over here, let me explain you. P here is principal amount. R would be considered as rate of return. T would be considered as time period. So what this formula means, this was your principal amount. After a year he will get some return. This is formula for rate of return, and in this way you can calculate total amount present at the end of period. So what this formula is about, you will have your principal amount and then you will add its return, and this way you can get amount present or current amount future value. This is the simplest way with which you can understand how much amount would be present after a year. Please understand, principal amount would remain same, and since he has invested that amount in a bank or in a treasury or in bonds or in any investment organization where he will also be getting some return. This part of the question of the formula, again we have two different aspects. First is P, principal amount, and in brackets you will get your return from that treasury. When you will add both, that would be the future value. Alright, let's start putting our values. As you know, that principal amount which he does have right now is $100. So you will put 100, then you will add it, start your bracket. Please follow this formula. Again, principal amount is 100 and you need to multiply it with rate. Rate of return was expected as 9% nominal rate. So put over here 9%, and then you need to multiply it with time. Time in 1 year, so you will put 1. So guys, in this way your formula would be completed. Let's arrange it. So now it's not difficult for you to understand. 100 was the principal amount, and inside this bracket you will get your return. Principal amount multiplied by rate of return and multiplied by time. Time was 1 year, so you have directly nominated 1. Now let's put this statement in our calculator, and similarly you are doing the same. 9% means 9 divided by 100, and that means 0.09, and then again you need to multiply it with 1. Please note it down how we will put this statement in our calculator. So we would have 109. Look at here, our answer is 109. This is second answer we have calculated, and it may be called future value. Second answer is completed. Let's mark it as it has been done. Okay, let's see what C part is saying to us. How much would you expect polo shirt to cost at the end of 1 year in light of expected inflation? Come over here. The consensus forecast of leading economists is a 5% rate of inflation. Inflation is associated with prices. Right now we can purchase one polo shirt for 25. After a year there would be an increase in price by 5%. So what does that mean? Simply you understand present value, and you will add inflation, with which what you will get, if you have your present value, future value of shirt. Please understand these are basic discussions, and we will be establishing proper formulas later on. Right now you will understand the concept with the help of these formulas. Look over here, future value of shirt. How you will calculate future value? After a year. Right now the value of shirt and then inflation. When you will add both, you will get the future value. Let's start putting the values. Right now the price of shirt is $25, and you will add inflation rate, which is 5% mentioned in your question. 5% rate of inflation. It means how much increase in your shirt would be $25, and you need to multiply it with 5%. So that's the way with which you will be able to know how much cost of that shirt would be after a year. Since statement has been completed, we are now open to calculate. Simply put 25 and 25 multiplied by 5 divided by 100, 5%. Kindly note it down, 25 was the original price of the shirt, and 5% would be increased. When you will add both, you will get your final price, or price of shirt after a year. This was our requirement, and now let's see the answer which is given in your, for C part we have 26.25. So it means our third part is also solved. Let's mark it as it has been done. I'm very sure you have understood this simple thing. Right now you can buy this shirt for $25, but there would be 5% inflation after a year. So in bracket, how much price would be increased? When you will add basic price and increase in price, you will get the final price for the future. It means C part has been sorted out. Let's go and find out what D part is saying to us. And here D part, use your findings in part B and C. In part B you have seen how much your amount is possible after a year. In C part you have seen what could be the cost of polo shirt after a year and how many polo shirts Zen can purchase at the end of 1 year. Simple is this. Again we need to calculate total units for which we need amount and that would be divided by per unit. And specifically units of shares after a year we want to know amount after a year would be used and per unit price after a year. So everything you will be using that would have a price after year or numbers after years. You can see that units of shares after a year you want to calculate for this amount after a year and per unit price after a year is needed. It's simple thing. How much amount he would have after a year? We have already calculated future value of investment, future value of amount. Look, 109. He would have $109 after a year. Please follow this formula. Of per unit price of shirt. It should be written over here. There we have started. No. Okay. Let me see where this formula is. Yes. At this point, what we need per unit price of shirts, we need per unit price of shirts after a year. So let me know how much would be the price after a year. This we have calculated over here. The price right now is $25, but after a year it would be $26.25. So in this way we can calculate our units of shirts after a year. Just simply put it on your calculator. 109 divided by 26.25. So we have 4.15 shirts which he can purchase after a year. Shirts after 1 year. This is our D part and we are now will be looking how much answer is present in our book. So shirts after a year. Okay, look up over here 4.15 and what we have calculated shirts after a year 4.15. Now you will be wondering how can we purchase 4.15 shirts as shirts can be 4 or 5. So look over here what we have instructed how many fewer shirts there were on. Look over here, fractions are okay. That means we can ignore this 4.15 as it is impossible to purchase 4.15 shirts. Shirts can be 4 or 5. Decimal is not possible, but in question we were asked just to ignore these decimals. So guys, D part is completed, but one more thing has been discussed over here. In percentage terms, how many more or fewer shirts? We can buy more shirts and needed to calculate its percentage as well. Please note it down. At start we have decided right now we can purchase 4 shirts and after a year we can purchase 4.15 shirt. It means investment in treasury is more fruitful because right now with $100 we can purchase only 4 shares, but after a year if we will invest this $100 in treasury, we can buy 4.15 shares, 4.15 shares. And now we are required to calculate how much more shares in terms of percentage. Please note it down. Current right now we can have 4 shares now, but after a year we can buy 4.15 shares after a year. So let me know how many more shares you can buy. Simple is this: 4.15 minus 4, you will get zero point 0.5 extra shares. This is what extra shares can be bought in future. To calculate its percentage, simple, you will take extra shares and you will divide it with original shares we can buy, and finally you will multiply it with 100. This is not a formula, just to understand the percentage. We can put it directly as well, but I have written it. Extra shares you can buy is 0.15 and you can divide with original shares 4, and then you will multiply it with 100 to calculate the percentage. After writing down the statement, we can now put it on our calculator. So we have 3.75, and this is percentage which is required in the question. Okay, for here you can put total calculations 152380952. So we have got 3.8%. This is our answer for D part, and here let's highlight it. This is D1, and here we have calculated D2. Let's check the answer 3.8 and look over here. We have 3.8% extra shares, and our answer is also 3.8%. D part is solved. Now we will be going for E part. Let's see what that is saying to us. What is Zane's real rate of return over the year? To understand it, it is very simple. He can earn 9%, but due to this inflation rate, what will happen? This 5% would be wasted, and ultimately you can have only 4% extra. And how it is related to percentage change in Zane's buying power found in part D. Look, first we will calculate the real rate of interest. For the time being, we will see total return, and you will subtract inflation rate. Okay, again understand what we are going to calculate. It is your real rate of return, for which total rate of return, and then you will subtract. Let's merge it and we will come to know how much actual rate of return is. Please understand that if he would have invested this amount in treasury, he will get 9%, but due to inflation, that 9% would not be the real increase, because due to increase in prices, he will not be able to use whole 9%. So 9%, no doubt he can get from treasury, but 5% would be wasted due to inflation rate. In this way, his real rate of return can be calculated by subtracting inflation rate from return. So 4% is actually the real rate of return. Let's mark it and see what is answer of E part. And look over here, we have 4%. The second part of this question is theory, how it is related percentage exchange in buying power found in part D. So obviously both are nearly same. What is happening? 4% is real rate of return he will get after a year, and over here is almost 4% extra shares he can buy. So in this way, these can be associated with each other. Simple is this: when you will calculate real rate of return, you can apply this to any transaction. So guys, in this way our E part has also been completed. A theoretical portion was with E part, and you can write a line: real rate of return can be applied for any future transaction as well. So in this way our question has been completed, which is showing that 4% is real rate of return, not the 9%. So that 4% can be applied to any transaction. This was theoretical portion. Guys, we have completed our E part as well. So A, B, C, D, E completed. For A part, we have answer 4. For B part, 109. Okay. And for C part, we have 26.25. 26.25, and D part is having two answers: 4.15 first. 4.15, it's your first answer, and second answer is 3.8%. Second answer 3.8, and finally we have E point where 4% is our answer. E part 4%. So thankfully all answers are matched correctly, and we have completed our question 6.3. Though its answers are present, its solution is in front of you, all formulas, all percentages were calculated in the solution, and question has been completed. But even then I'm offering you, if you have any trouble of understanding any part of this question, you are very open to ask your queries through text messages, WhatsApp, or you can call, or even you can directly meet to ask your queries. I will surely be available for solution of your question instantly. For the time being, 6.3 is ended. We will be meeting soon again for the solution of any other question in future. Up till then, please take care of yourself, and I'm requesting you to please pray for me as well. Thank you very much for your time. It's a humble request to please repeat this question for 3 to 4 times. Thank you very much for your time. Allah Hafiz.